Packers could earn a surprise draft pick with a little help from their rivals in Minnesota. The story of the Green Bay Packers this season is one of bold decisions, strategic recalibration, and a relentless pursuit of long-term success. After a series of aggressive trades that reshaped both their defense and offensive line depth, the Packers now stand at a crucial crossroads where every future draft pick carries enormous value. Yet in a twist that few fans expected, and that underscores how unpredictable the NFL can be, Green Bay might soon receive an unexpected draft pick, thanks to the contributions of one of their former players who is now making an impact for their fiercest division rival, the Minnesota Vikings. The offseason for the Packers was marked by decisive moves that signaled a win-now mentality, trading the first-round picks to acquire star linebacker Micah Parsons, and sending a future sixth-round pick in 2027 to bring in offensive lineman Darian Kennard, represented a clear statement of intent. The organization was not waiting for the future, it was investing heavily in it. But those moves came at a cost, leaving the Packers with limited draft capital and heightening the importance of every compensatory opportunity available through the league's complex formula. Initially, analysts projected that Green Bay would not receive any compensatory selections for the upcoming draft. The losses of defensive tackle T.J. Slaton and cornerback Eric Stokes in free agency were effectively canceled out by the team's signings of guard Aaron Banks and cornerback Nate Hobbs. That balance meant that at first glance the Packers seemed to be out of the running for any additional draft compensation. But in professional football, as in life, circumstances can change in unexpected ways, and a player's career trajectory can alter the arithmetic of team building. Enter Eric Wilson, a veteran linebacker who spent the past 3 seasons in Green Bay as a special teams standout and reliable rotational player on the fence. In March, he signed a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings worth $2.6 million a contract that at the time drew little attention outside of Minneapolis. Wilson was viewed largely as a depth piece and special teams contributor, not as someone who would dramatically influence compensatory pick projections. But what has unfolded since then is one of those quietly fascinating subplots that makes the NFL offseason and regular season such a chess game of numbers and performance metrics. Instead of being relegated to a limited role, Wilson has emerged as a critical part of the Vikings' defense, playing over 82% of the team's defensive snaps this season. That volume of playing time combined with his salary tier dramatically shifts his valuation. Under the NFL's compensatory pick formula, the league's system takes into account both contract value and snap counts when determining which teams receive extra draft selections for players lost in free agency. And suddenly Wilson's role in Minnesota puts Green Bay back into consideration for compensation. According to projections from Over the Cap, which has built a reputation for accurately forecasting compensatory selections, the Packers are now projected to receive a 7th-round pick, one of the final choices in the draft, often referred to as the antepenultimate selection, just before the famous Mr. Irrelevant slot, which is currently projected to belong to the Chicago Bears. This potential pick might not sound significant on the surface, but for general manager Brian Gutekunst and the Packers front office, every bit of draft capital matters, especially in the wake of their recent high-profile trades. Of course, it is important to note that these are still unofficial projections. The NFL only releases the final list of compensatory picks several weeks before the draft in April, and much can still change between now and then. Wilson's continued presence on the Vikings' defensive lineup will be critical. If his snap percentage remains consistent through the rest of the season, Green Bay's odds of securing that extra pick will remain strong. On the other hand, if his role diminishes, it could alter the formula and potentially remove the compensatory benefit altogether. There is also a certain poetic irony in this development. Eric Wilson began his professional career with the Minnesota Vikings back in 2017, where he played for seasons and built a reputation as a hardworking and versatile linebacker. After that, he had brief stints with the Philadelphia Eagles, Houston Texans, and New Orleans Saints, before the Packers picked him up off the Saints practice squad in 2022. During his time in Green Bay, he became a valued member of the special teams unit and a trusted depth option at linebacker, embodying the type of dependable veteran presence every team values. His decision to return to Minnesota this past offseason may have been rooted in opportunity, but it now carries unexpected implications for his former employer. While a 7th-round pick may not seem like much, it is worth remembering that Green Bay has found quality players in the later rounds before. Carrington Valentine, a young cornerback who has already shown flashes of promise, and left tackle Rasheed Walker, who has earned praise for his development, were both late-round selections. Under Gutekunst's leadership, the Packers have long prided themselves on their ability to identify talent and develop it into meaningful production regardless of draft position. For a team that thrives on long-term roster depth, every selection, no matter how small, represents a potential building block for future success. This situation also highlights the intricacies of the NFL's compensatory system and how team decisions often ripple in unexpected directions. A player who leaves in free agency and thrives elsewhere can indirectly reward his former team months later through the league's detailed formula. For the Packers front office, this potential 7th-round pick is more than just a statistical bonus. It is a small validation of how strategic depth and player development can yield dividends beyond the playing field, and for fans, it is another example of how every move in the NFL matters. The signing of a player in March, the number of defensive snaps taken in October, and the performance metrics tracked by analytics experts like Over the Cap all converge to influence what happens in April on draft day. It is a reminder that football's most successful organizations are those that see the big picture, not just the next game or the next transaction, but how every detail fits into a larger strategy. If you are a passionate follower of the Green Bay Packers and want to stay ahead of every roster, move, draft update, and behind-the-scenes development, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps strengthen the community of Packers fans around the world, creating a space where insights, discussions, and shared passion can thrive. Join the conversation, share your thoughts on this potential compensatory pick, and be part of a growing network of supporters who live and breathe Green Bay football. Together, we can continue to build a community that celebrates the spirit, the history, and the future of one of the most storied franchises in the NFL.